Remember the good times.
Oh! With this Oscar here tonight.
People are obsessed.
You have got what appears to be a dynamite sound.
You like to play an evil character, don't you?
I play those kind of parts.
And you play them well.
I've never known what I was going to do next.
Christopher.
What this show needs is more cowbell.
My man, Christopher Walken, you guys.
Please welcome Christopher Walken.
This is quite possibly one of the most recognizable voices in all of Hollywood.
He's like a guy that everyone does.
So familiar that it seems to be a favorite for impersonation.
If you Google the phrase Christopher Walken impersonation, over 100,000 search answers come up.
But it's not just his distinctive accent and comedic timing.
Just hit menu.
On the remote?
No, the menu with the Red Lobster. Yes, on the remote.
Rather, it's a combination of these things. The culmination of an acting career that has spanned over 70 years.
6 decades later, you're doing another live thing.
And I haven't changed one bit.
No, you really.
Christopher Walken has an incredibly unique cadence.
In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass.
He delivers lines in a rhythmic, almost unpredictable fashion.
You taught me the shuffle, the backdrop.
He not only adds pauses at important points to allow the dialogue to settle in,
for which each of you will pay me $100 million.
but also at points you typically wouldn't expect.
You should have accepted my more than generous offer.
Rather than using a consistent pitch throughout his speech, it often fluctuates,
Do you understand the concept of the Tooth Fairy?
rarely following a straightforward linear path, but not without reason. He's usually using it to emphasize certain words or convey a certain emotion.
I'm sorry, I didn't get to know our little girl earlier.
Aside from the unpredictable delivery, he has one of the most intense stares ever brought to the big screen.
He was getting scary.
This gaze of his is not only incredibly unnerving, but he's able to hold it impressively long, even doing so without blinking. This is made all that more effective by a vibrant eye color and the surrounding wrinkles. He's able to say so much without actually saying anything.
I was very intimidated by him too, by the way, because he's not, hey, how you doing? It's not like that.
But look beyond the cold gaze and you also discover he's a master of the micro-expression.
Yes, you do know.
No, I don't know.
Walken is often championed for his unique delivery, but it's his subtlety that pairs incredibly well with his tone. Be it a cocked eyebrow or a small head tilt, nothing is ever too animated.
A nickel bag gets sold in the park. I want in.
These controlled, precise movements can be incredibly captivating.
Flames rising out of the flowing gasoline.
Actors like Michael Shannon and Anthony Hopkins have a similar aura and use this extensively to better portray their villains.
Let me help you now, and I will trust you when it is all over.
Though I don't think there's anyone with a stare that can convey trauma quite like that of Walken's. In 1983's The Dead Zone, Walken plays Johnny Smith, a school teacher plagued by psychic visions after getting into a car wreck and spending 5 years in a coma.
She saved you. She's alive, Sam.
Before the accident, his eyes are warmer, more full of life. After the coma, his expressions grow far more intense. This haunted gaze conveys the immense burden of carrying these psychic abilities.
You want to kill your own son?
I'm scared, Dad.
This chameleon-like change in expression is best shown in the film's finale. In this scene, he has to take the life of Greg Stilson, a politician destined to commit harm on a massive scale. As Johnny hides on the floor above, he knows his decision to take a life is for the greater good, but it'll undoubtedly destroy his own. As he struggles with the internal demons, Johnny's expression shifts from a piercing stare to a softer, more introspective look, an indication that he's come to terms with his own destiny.
Goodbye.
This subtle expression is a common theme among his characters.
What we got here is a little game of show and tell. You don't want to show me nothing, but you tell me everything.
In what is arguably his most famous monologue, Walken would pair the cadence and gaze with the character of Captain Coons from Pulp Fiction.
Butch, stop watching TV. You've got a special visitor.
He begins by introducing himself in what is essentially his normal speaking voice,
I was a good friend of your dad's.
but once seated, shifts into a more somber tone.
This watch I got here.
When a line demands sincerity, Walken's voice grows deeper and more gravelly,
Great-grandfather gave this watch to your granddad for good luck.
better reflecting the weight of the moment. In order to fully build tension, he makes much longer use of the pauses here.
This watch.
Some for seconds at a time.
This watch was on your daddy's wrist when he was shot down.
Tarantino opts for a close-up, as well as a blurred background to put emphasis on both the dramatic, whisper-like dialogue and Walken's stone-cold yet sincere expression. But as the captain eases into describing how the watch made its way over,
5 long years he wore this watch. Up his ass.
His delivery fluctuates, growing higher pitched and almost defensive.
You'd be damned if any gonna put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hit it.
You're slightly jarred by the absurdity of the moment, made all that more impactful by the longer, drawn-out takes. The only time the scene ever cuts is to either the watch or a young Butch. Tarantino knew that Walken would provide all the impact he needed.
Now, little man, I give the watch to you.
With all of these intense characters and unique deliveries,
What was she too crazy then?
She showed him it was all right to live again.
you're reminded of just how much control this man has over his broad emotional range.
I love you. Is that what you want to hear? I love you.
This part in 1978's The Deer Hunter is one of the most haunting scenes ever brought to the big screen. Walken plays Nick alongside De Niro's Michael.
Don't do it.
Both suffer from tremendous PTSD related to the tragedies and inhumanities of the Vietnam War.
Put an empty chamber in that gun.
Only one of them ever manages to tolerate some semblance of normalcy. Michael's guilt pushes him in search of Nick, eventually discovering him within a Vietnamese gambling den, or what's left of him anyhow. Walken plays a Nicky completely void of emotion. There's essentially nothing behind this cold gaze of his.
That's what you want.
But the more Michael starts to recall shared memories, the more he starts to break.
You remember the trees? Remember all the different ways of the trees? Remember that? Remember?
What seeps in is the realization that tragedy is inevitable. His subtle, bare expression fades into painful distress with each empty chamber, each cry for help.
Come on, Nicky, come home. Just come home. Home.
Until finally, the old Nicky is faintly visible.
One shot. One shot. One shot.
Though only briefly. This delicate dance of subtlety and turmoil is incredibly difficult to pull off. And fortunately for Walken, the Academy would agree.
The winner is Christopher Walken in the Deer Hunter.
I'm very happy to have this. I salute Michael Cimino.
These were the early years, though. He had the energy to be far more expressive. In his older age, he's opted to take more supporting roles.
Anthony will never marry.
Oh, he will.
Wake up!
One of his most notable is the character of Hans in Seven Psychopaths.
You hurt?
Despite Colin Farrell's Marty being the protagonist,
Marty's my writer friend I was telling you about.
I can smell the booze.
Hans steals the show. This man is a walking contradiction. While he's most certainly a morally ambiguous, dog-stealing criminal, he's also often the one delivering some profound insight.
Friends don't make the friends die, Hans.
Psychopathic friends do.
Walken's comedic timing and cadence make for some incredible exchanges.
Put your hands up.
No,
But I've got a gun.
I don't care.
Doesn't make any sense.
Too bad.
Masterfully depicting the stubbornness of old age. While he isn't able to move as gracefully as he once could, his trademark stare is as sharp as ever.
You looking at something?
No, nothing.
Nowadays, we don't see Christopher Walken nearly as much as we used to. He prefers to spend his golden years completely unplugged.
You don't have a cell phone?
No, I don't have a computer. I've never sent a text or an email or...
And after nearly 55 years of marriage,
I think they're beautiful.
in the company of a loving wife,
a head-turning couple.
he's proven time and time again that he's much more than just a distinctive voice.
I could be a writer, I could be a painter, I could do a lot of things.
I'm happy to be the villain.
He's the culmination of 70 years as an actor.
I don't have kids, I don't have hobbies, I don't like to travel. I like to go to work.
We see you. Maybe it's because of all the things you've done, and maybe it's because you have the ability to laugh at yourself as well as be serious. That you know more about life than the rest of us do.
Thank you all